Day one of Colts training camp is in the books here from Grand Park in Westfield. A slew of storylines for this Colts team coming into training camp. We got a few answers here on day one. It's early. They're not full pads yet, but it was a solid work day. Shane Steichen saying after practice, and you'll hear it in a moment, very pleased with both sides of the ball. Not a lot of mental errors. The defense really won the day, in his opinion, and all of us watching, it was a great day. But let's work through it here. Daniel Jones fully cleared and ready to go, participating in 11-on-11 drills for the first time in quite some time. He's not even 8 months fully post-Achilles tear and Achilles surgery, so a great sign for this Colts team. He was rolling out quite a bit during those 11-on-11 team drills. Didn't take any time off, took all the first team reps. Really feeling good, he told us after practice, and Shane Steichen really impressed with his QB and how hard he's worked in this rehab to get himself ready for training camp and the season at large. Number two, Jonathan Taylor out here practicing. That's a great sign. You see running backs from across the league, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson sitting out in search of a long-term contract. Jonathan Taylor, been there, done that a couple years back. A lot more amicable this time around with the Colts. Very positive and optimistic on his future and ability with the front office to get something done, perhaps ahead of the season. A lot of confidence there. Again, you'll hear from him in a moment. But really who won the day was this Colts secondary. Charvarius Ward and Sauce Gardner playing together out there on the field. I got to tell you, when you look at this Colts secondary, you know, you got Jonathan Owens in there, Hunter Wohler at the safety position, Cam Bynum, Sauce Gardner, Charvarius Ward, and let's not forget Justin Wally, who really had a good training camp last year before a season-ending injury. He's kind of at that nickel spot. It's an impressive and deep secondary who made a lot of plays. Ward and Gardner having pass breakups on Daniel Jones throughout this day one of training camp. Obviously a lot of rookies. Interesting rotation as far as the linebacker position goes, but this Colts defense at large winning the day, no question about it. Impressive to see. Health is going to be the number one thing with this group, but it was a solid start on day one of Colts training camp. But we got a chance to hear from Daniel Jones, Jonathan Taylor, Shane Steichen, and Cam Bynum after practice. Here's what they had to say after day one.
Here at Grand Park, really good first day. Really pleased with the guys' effort today. Great energy out there. You know, obviously thanks to Grand Park, we've been here for many years, obviously before I was even here, but just a tremendous facility that they open up. The hospitality Grand Park gives us year in and year out. It's been tremendous, and looking forward to another great camp this year here.
How do you think Daniel looked today, just moving around?
I thought he looked really good. Obviously his first day back, team periods, the way he was throwing the ball, completed a lot of passes, moved well, did some movement stuff with them, handled all that well, so really pleased with where he was at today.
Shane, you've seen his progress all through from the surgery on. What do you look for today, tomorrow, a week from now?
Just consistency with coming back from the injury, you know, gaining that strength back. Obviously, he looked pretty good today, but obviously, you know, it's a day-by-day process with that. But he did a hell of a job today, and so we're just going to continue that growth, you know, and look through it.
When he gets flushed out of the pocket and scrambles, do you want to see those little, like, check boxes? Like, you want to
yeah, absolutely. He had one of those today. You know, he got out of the pocket and ran, you know, for a few yards there, which was really good to see on his first day back.
In his career, I mean, the thing that he's probably been maybe critiqued on is just like year-to-year consistency. You know, good year followed up with a good year. Like, what goes into that?
Well, I think it's just it is consistency. What you said. I mean, it's going out and completing passes and putting your team in a position to win every single game, and that's what consistency looks like at the quarterback. It's moving the ball up and down the field. It's getting in the right play. You know, completing passes, keep the chains moving, and he did a hell of a job with that last year, and so we're continuing to do that. You know, this year.
How do you think DJ's rehab, all that, is kind of just galvanized the group, knowing how hard he worked to get back to this day?
Yeah, I think it means a lot to our group and our guys in that locker room to see the hard work that he's put in to be where he's at right now, you know, doing full team reps, 8 months, whatever it is, post-op from his surgery. It's a credit to him and the work that he's put in to be able to be out here to start training camp. It's pretty impressive.
DeForest Buckner as well. I mean, neck surgery at the end of December. Not in 11s yet, but he's back.
Yeah, he's back, and he's worked really hard as well. You know, those guys that, I always say the guys that work hard, guys that play in this league for a long time, they have a level of consistency is really what it comes down to. The hard work, the effort they put in, it's no surprise these guys play for as long as they have. And when they go through injuries, those guys that are committed to getting back, they do everything in their power to do it. And Buckner's one of those guys. And so I'm not surprised that he's back out here either. Obviously, we're going to work him back in slowly as this thing gets going. But but it's awesome to see him back out here.
Do you have a timeline on when you would expect to be able to get him back into 11s, or what are you looking for or talking to him about?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're going to play that by ear with him. We want to get him to week 1 for sure, obviously. So we'll be smart with him. That'll be a conversation with myself, the trainers, and him too. It's his body, but working him back into individual drills right now, and then see where that goes, throughout training camp.
How are things going at wide receiver? I mean, they had some interesting combinations out there a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, we got moving parts right there, and guys are moving around, and got to step up. And there's some competition in that room right now that we're excited about. But excited about Downs right now. Obviously a guy that can play inside and outside now for us, and his role is going to improve this season for us, which we're excited about. And Doolin's a guy that's got to step up, and Treadwell and Westbrook and the rest of those guys. So I'm excited about that group, and they're going to compete like crazy during training camp.
In Josh's first year in particular, we saw the explosive plays from him, maybe a little less last year. Is there more of that you guys can get to?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I think, when you look at the room right now, obviously Tyler Warren was a big piece of our offense last year. And so that was another element that, probably took away. You got one football, you got a lot of guys to get the targets to. So, obviously losing Pitt was, hard. So there's guys that got to step up. And Down's going to be one of those guys that's going to step up for us this year.
Obviously different storylines this year, but compared day one this year to day one last year, what's your level of excitement, confidence in this team?
Well, I was really excited. I was really pleased with day one practice. It was really smooth, really no mental errors. It was pretty clean. I thought the guys flew around a lot of plays on both sides of the ball. Having Sauce and Mooney back out there together with the ones, those guys are both making plays on day one, which was awesome to see. Offense made some good plays. JT had some huge runs. Overall, I thought it was really clean.
You're in your fourth year here. You guys didn't have any major coaching changes. Most of the starting offense is the same as last year. What is that level of consistency year to year? How does that help you guys kind of hit the day one?
It's a great question. I think it's huge. I think it's very beneficial. Just even the way we started practice today with Daniel coming back, the offensive line intact, the tight end, the running back. I mean, there were some checks at the line of scrimmage that Daniel made to get us into the right play, which we hit some big plays today. And that doesn't just happen. That comes from reps and being together and the consistency and everyone being on the same page. So I'm very excited for that.
When you go into camp knowing who your starting quarterback is, does that help get you guys further down the road, building the offense or working guys in?
There's no question about that. There's no doubt about it. So obviously knowing Daniel's our guy going into this year, the conversations that are take place with the offense and how it evolves through training camp and during the season is going to be big for us.
Ben's interim safety or
yeah.
What went into that?
Ben's kind of a jack of all trades. He's a Swiss Army knife. He does a lot of different things for us through special teams last year on the scout team. So playing safety, obviously you have so many, practice squad players, and so he would go both ways for us last year, and he made a ton of plays on the scout team, and so we switched him over to offense. So I was excited to see him out there. He had a catch today. He's going to continue to improve and grow in that role.
Shane, are you going to rotate AR and Riley?
Yeah, those guys will rotate. I'm really pleased with where AR is at, coming off the eye injury, in the spring and then going into training camp, and Riley too making good strides as well. So those guys will rotate, those guys will compete, and I'm looking forward to that competition with those two guys.
Dalton Tucker, I think going back to the spring, has had a few of those high snaps. I mean, he's a talented guy.
Yeah.
How do you get that under control?
I think it's reps. It's repetition is really what it comes down to. Obviously, getting those reps, you got to go through it. You know what I mean? And there's going to be some of those snaps, some bad snaps, but that's what practice is for. And we got to work through those and be consistent doing it.
Can you talk about your rookies, specifically like Caden Curry, what those guys have to do to make the team?
Yeah, I think Caden Curry, first and foremost, a tremendous player. Had a hell of a career at Ohio State. Obviously, a local kid here, but saw a lot of good things in the spring from him. Very smart, cerebral guy, understands it. I think he's got really good instincts as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him come out here and compete, in this training camp and earn a spot and earn a role on this team.
Let's go. A couple more. Be one of those places for rookies and guys like Caden.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of those guys, that's how it works out, right? You play special teams and then you earn your role. You see it all around the league, but you never know how this thing plays out. You know what I mean? He could step up early and be a guy for us on defense. You never know.
Chris made a good point yesterday about talking about finishing at the end of the season. What are you guys implementing on day one to kind of get to
to that point?
Well, I think it's a little bit, we talked about developing a find-a-way mindset. You know, that's really what it comes down to, is finding a way, and it's my job as a coach, you know, during practice to put those guys in position, right, to develop that mindset, you know, and that starts in training camp. It's always about, you know, establishing our identity, who you're going to be as a football team, you know, tough, physical, fast, all those, you know, coaching cliches you hear, but it is the truth. We got to go do that every single day, bring great energy, be elite communicators at everything we do day in and out, so we can get to where we want to go.
You mentioned Sauce and Mooney. I think that Kansas City game is the only game they really put wires together.
Yeah.
Lottie was talking about how they could tell like Pat was frustrated through that game because of those guys. Do you remember that? And I don't know, what do you take away from that and hoping to spin forward to this year?
Well, you got two guys that have been all-pro players at points in their career, and they're really elite players. So to have two elite corners that can lock down a guy one-on-one on the outside is going to be huge and beneficial, you know, for our defense. So I'm really looking forward to those guys being out there together, you know, for the full season.
All right, thanks, John.
How much do you think 6 weeks just helped your movement? Like, we saw you moving around the pocket, you had the scramble today. It just felt like your off-schedule movement was very different than what we saw in the spring.
Yeah, I feel like I made a lot of good progress the last 6 weeks. Last time I spoke to you, I was clear to do stuff, but still I think there's a process in, you know, getting back and feeling more comfortable, getting some of the strength, some of the twitch back, and felt good out there today. And I'll continue to make steps kind of throughout camp.
Daniel, the scramble that you had, I know you were kind of on restrictions in the spring. How grateful were you for that, just that moment, the ability to not have Shane basically tell you, don't do that?
I was wondering if he was going to say something to me afterwards. He didn't, but I felt good. I mean, that's stuff that I've done a lot. You know, you build it into your drill work, into, you know, your rehab and all that stuff I've been doing. So felt good doing it, and it's good to be able to do it in a more football setting.
I know this is start working drill scramble work like that back into things. I know this is the first time we saw you do it in 11-on-11s, but
yeah, I mean, I was doing that in the spring with the trainers and with everybody here. So I mean, it's something like I've been clear to do for a long time, but like I said, it gets better and better the more you do it, and kind of build the strength back, build the twitch back, and so it definitely feels better than it did 6 weeks ago.
Have you been working on where you are now with your timeline, whatever you want to call it, that you'll do things in practice that you're used to doing and you don't think about it, or you get confidence in pivoting and rolling out that maybe you had to have confidence to do that again or not?
I think I had, have confidence in it. You know, it's not a lack of confidence necessarily. I think it's just building the strength back, you know, and building the repetition and getting your body used to doing it again. I think every time you do it, you get more and more. You get a little stronger, a little better, a little more used to it. So, like I said, I'll continue to do that over this training camp, over the 6 week period before we play our first game.
Daniel, do you want to play in the preseason, and how will you convince Shane to actually let you do that?
I mean, that's up to Shane. You know, that's Shane's call, and I'll be ready. You know, I feel good, but that's, a team decision in a lot of ways, and Shane makes those. So whatever he decides, I'll be good with. I don't know. I think we got a few weeks to figure that out.
The point of having guys like Sauce and Mooney together is to make life difficult for quarterbacks. So lined up against them, what's been your impression of them together so far?
Yeah, I mean, good. I think for one, their length and size, I think, is a huge part of playing against them, and their ability to disrupt receivers at the line or at the top of their break or throughout the route. So I think those are two really good players. It makes a big difference, I think, when you have two really good corners like that.
Does that help you throughout camp?
I think so.
Iron sharpens iron type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Anytime you're competing against good players, we've got a good defense. They're two good players, but we got a lot of good players over there, and Lou does a really good job with his scheme. So I think going against them every day helps us tremendously.
You got a second chance here. Things maybe didn't work out in the past, but you didn't get to finish the job, obviously, because of last year. I mean, how much does that aspect motivate you at all? Because you came here, to be their guy, and you didn't get to finish it.
Yeah, I think absolutely. It's motivating for me. Just yeah, knowing you know, how we started and the level I thought, you know, we were all playing at as a team, and then you know, we had some stuff knock us off, but I think it's motivating for myself, motivating for all of us to know what we can be, but there's a lot of work that goes into doing that and sustaining that through an entire season. So yeah, I think we're all extremely hungry and motivated.
I know you said Monday on Pat's show that even if you've been cleared to do everything, that maybe there are still some boxes that you feel like you need to check. What are the things that you're looking for as you go through these practices over the next couple of weeks to, I guess, maybe check any boxes that just haven't been checked?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just similar to the progression over, you know, the last 6 weeks from minicamp to now. I think, you know, you're doing all the same stuff, but just feeling better doing it, feeling quicker, more explosive. You know, and that's a process, a gradual process. I think being out there, playing football, getting those reps, you get more and more used to it, and it'll come. So, yeah, I mean, boxes to check. I think it's more like a feel and I think just feeling a gradual improvement over time.
What were the few days like in Florida? What do you felt like you got out of that?
Yeah, it was great. We had great participation. Tons of guys showed up and worked. You know, we had a lot of good work on the field. You know, and it was good. I think those trips are valuable for the time on the field, but probably more so for the time off the field where you're hanging out, going to dinner. You know, played golf and just spending time together. You know, outside the facility. So, you know, really appreciative of all the the participation, the energy, how excited guys were to do it, and I think it was a valuable trip for us.
Daniel, it's certainly new season, new camp, certainly, but given the way that you guys started the season last year, in particular offensively, what are the things that you're trying to replicate and do, but then also improve upon so you're able to sustain it even more effectively this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year's new, and we've got to start from square one, you know, and that's what today was. I mean, that's what the spring was, but that's what today is too. So, you know, we'll start and we'll have, you know, a lot of the same guys are back. So we'll try to accentuate their strengths and what they're good at and help them, you know, put them in the right position to make plays. And then, you know, we've got some new guys and we got, you know, a different feel in some ways too. So we'll look to make the most of that as well. But I don't think it's about recreating anything. I think we've got to look to build it and make sure we're ready to go.
You and Shane had spent a lot of time together by this time last year, obviously, but it was your first year. Now you have that time invested with each other, working together. How much more of an understanding and, you know, speaking the same language you kind of have, working together at this point?
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously you feel a good bit ahead of where we were last year. You know, learning the offense and you know, I was competing to play, you know, splitting reps. So I think, yeah, it's helpful to have that experience underneath you, things to reference, things that have worked in the past. I mean, you just accumulate a certain amount of reps and experiences, and I think that's helpful to build kind of on, you know, build on going forward and seeing what we're gonna do and what we're gonna emphasize. At this point, I think, you know, obviously you're a little bit ahead of where you were this time last year.
I know we will talk about the fact that you're back in 11-on-11 work today. Does today feel like a big moment for you? You've been on the field now for a couple of months. Was this a big moment for you this morning, getting back and actually getting to do that, or does this kind of feel like another day?
I mean, it definitely was a goal of mine to be back for the first day of training camp. So, you know, there's some satisfaction in that and being back for the first day, but it's still a process. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done personally. You know, with my process, and then as a team. So we're just starting out, and it's good to have it's important to have a good first day, but there's a lot of work ahead of us.
And going back to December and January, at what point did doing this and accomplishing this feel like a realistic goal of yours?
I mean, I felt like it was realistic from the beginning. You know, I think after talking to the doctors and trainers, PT, I felt like it was realistic as long as I, you know, stuck to the program and you know, checked all the marks along the way. So, that was my goal from the beginning.
Thanks. So, you miss it?
Oh yeah, of course, man. It's just when it comes back around, you can't believe it. You've been training all this off season, and now you're finally like back. And not that it didn't mean anything before. You were always training for something, but like every rep now means something. There's no do-overs.
How do you feel coming in physically? I mean, you've been taking good care of your body. You played mostly injury-free last year for the first time in a while. I mean, you feel like that?
Definitely. I mean, whenever you come out the season healthy, then you can get right back into not really, I want to say back to 100%. You get back to strengthening those ankles, those joints, those knees, hips, everything that kind of takes a toll throughout the season rather than rehabbing an actual like specific injury and then getting into your regular program. So it's always nice to get right into a nice and easy, relaxing off season and just gradually build up.
JT, what went into a couple of running backs who won contracts aren't practicing right away. What went into your decision to just pick up and go practice?
Yeah, I have faith. I mean, there have been some good conversations, and I have faith between my agent and front office. Like I said, I've already said I would love to be a Colt for life, so I have faith that things are moving in the right direction.
So maybe something,
Maybe if you talk to him. You know, you got tenure here, man. Look, hey.
There's so much continuity on the offense. Like the coaches are all back, most of the line's back. I mean, Jalen Travis started in 4 games last year. How important is that to carry all that over from one year to another?
It's very important, but every year is different. Every year is different. Every team is different. But it's important that when you have pieces from the previous year, can they bring along the guys who maybe had 1 or 2 starts last year or are new guys in the building? Can they bring those guys up to speed with our program, how we go about running our scheme, so that we're all on the same page? So you'd love to have that continuity from last year, but you know it's going to be a little bit different. But can you bring everyone up to speed on the same page? That's the biggest thing.
JT, you've been through quarterbacks in your career here. The value of having continuity, TJ back, how does that impact everything?
I mean, that's a major piece. I mean, you talk about the offensive line, you talk about having, a running game, you talk about having a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, you need to have a guy at the helm under center who can operate the offense efficiently. So we talked about continuity, bringing someone back who was doing that at a super, super high level last year is huge. It's very huge, and then it's on us, the guys around him, to be able to help make his job easier as possible by being in our right spot, making sure we're at our right depth. And it's just those little things that makes his job easier, because it's a lot that goes on at that position.
You're a health guy, preparation. He's 8 months out of Achilles. Are you a little bit surprised that he's this far along?
I mean, I don't know how those, knock on wood, I don't know how those injuries go, but I just do know I hear about timelines, and I know the worker that he is, so the fact that he is back out there right now, it doesn't surprise me because I know the worker that Daniel is, but like I said, I hope I don't have to go through any of that ever, but I know Daniel was more than equipped, as you guys can see, to fight through that and be able to be back out here.
It's your first training camp as a parent. Does that change anything for you motivationally when you step on the field?
See, so I did not a study, but I looked back. A lot of guys who's had children in college and even in the pros, usually they go crazy the next year, and then it comes out like, oh, they had a child. So hopefully that's the case for me. But no, I'm super blessed. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for her to start experiencing that. I mean, obviously she won't be able to remember anything right now, so hopefully I'm here long enough to where she can still see me in the blue and white and run around and take pictures with Blue, and she'll remember it.
You mentioned Daniel and his comeback. I mean, he comes up here and he's very sort of soft-spoken with us, but like, I suspect he's probably pretty motivated. Like there are people say, oh, you're injury prone or this or that. I mean, what do you think?
I mean, obviously, not even with other people. I mean, it's to himself because he knows the level that he can play at. I mean, obviously, you guys saw it last year, and unfortunately, like, these things happen. And these things happen, and you hope it never comes in your career. You hope it's down the line, but he's someone who's fought back before, and I just think he's like, it's the same thing this time, and I'm going to come back even better than before, just like I did the last time. So I think it's, yes, other people, but more so it's to himself, like, hey, I'm going to get back to the level I know I can play at.
Jonathan, you felt like the conversations you guys have had of moving in the right direction. How do you feel like the landscape for linebackers, or sorry, not linebackers, running backs in this league have changed over the 3 years since you went through the negotiations last?
I just think we've continued to play at a high level. Not only myself, but plenty of other black backs in the league. I think they play at an extremely high level at all different ages. So I just think that was probably a time period back in the day where there may have been a blimp, with a couple of guys. But I think now, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you're an elite guy, I think it shows on and off the field, and I think we're continuing to prove that.
How much do you think Saquon and Derrick Henry in Philly and in Baltimore have kind of turned that around?
Well, Saquon's not as old as Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's doing something that's crazy, and I think people need to take notice. So he's someone who's really at the helm of that, because I don't even think Saquon is 30 yet. I'm not quite sure, maybe 29, but Derrick is like 32. He just went for like 1,600. He's not stopping. So I just think year in and year out, those guys you mentioned and a few others, no matter if they're from 25 to 32, they continue to play at a high level. So at the end of the day, analytics doesn't really matter. If you're a baller and you can help your team win, you're an elite guy amongst a very difficult league. I think it's worth something.
Have you tried to pick their brains at all? Or like Derrick Henry's brain at all about like how he's...
You got to. Obviously I've not even gone against Derrick a few times, but been on the other side and been able to sit there and watch him, real live game. And then talk to him in the off season about his training, his diet, his mindset. But then obviously there's some things you can't control. He's 6'4", 250, so that always helps. But anytime that we can all help each other and pick each other's brain, it just elevates everyone as a whole. And I'm talking about the running back group as a whole.
Jonathan, I imagine you're about 1,600 yards behind Edgerrin James. Do you think about that at all?
Well, I've gone for 1,600, 1,800, 1,500, and we have not, made the playoffs yet. So looks like I need to run for a little bit more. Maybe I need to do my job a little bit better. Just maybe that might put us over the edge. Maybe that might help someone else make another play. So the yardage is very fun. It's always great making big plays because ultimately it's helping the team win. But when the yards don't translate to wins, then they're just stats on a sheet.
Thanks, JT.
All right, we're good.
Hey, Tim, there was one, we've all talked about having Mooney and Sauce on your corners. You had a segment up there where almost back-to-back they break up plays. Is that just sort of, okay, that's what it's going to be?
It's just beautiful to see, just seeing both of them there, healthy, locking up, and that's like the expectation that we know that they can do, and seeing that was like, okay, it's going to be a fun year. That started up, just seeing that day one made me just be like, okay, this is going to be a fun year, having them back, and even just every piece on our whole defense, all the depth that we have in the secondary, I know it's going to be a great year for us.
There's probably questions about both of those guys. Mooney obviously is kind of on the fence. Sauce, a couple of injuries and maybe people questioning.
Right.
Is their motivation reflecting that from what you can see?
They've always been motivated. They've always been top of the line when it comes to people that work hard, people that are focused and everything. And just last year was just a year where they unfortunately had a few injuries, and whatever people thought, they were still in here rehabbing hard and everything. So those are two guys that work extremely hard, are extreme professionals. So it's something really cool seeing them both healthy and ready to go at the start of camp, and knowing that we have a full training camp all together with the whole secondary being able to grow and build from what we've seen glimpses last year, but now we have a full off season to get healthy and everything and get your bodies prepared. So it's fun to see that now.
How do their leadership skills, their kind of the way they hold themselves, how do they compare and contrast on and off the field when you have two star guys like that in one room?
Let's see. Sauce is a little more outgoing. Mooney's still outgoing, but not as outgoing. Not as out there. But both of them are really, really great leaders. Both of them take pride in their work. Both work extremely hard on technique and not just athleticism. Two stars, two former All-Pros. A lot of them, just around the league are all focused on athleticism, but they're both technicians. So it's just cool to see how detailed they are doing everything that they do. So they complement each other well, and they're both, motivated to go out there and be the best.
What is the rapport in that secondary safeties, cornerback group like with you, them as leaders as well? Like how I know we're early days in camp, how does that group kind of operate, and what do you like about the makeup of that room right now?
It's just a lot of confidence in the room. I think the best part about it, nobody's overstepping, trying to be, an alpha. Everybody's a leader in their own way. Me, Mooney, Sauce, just really everybody. We're vets, Jonathan Owens. We have a lot of good vets in the room that have been around football for a long time. So I think everybody's, leading where they can, and nobody's overstepping. And I think that's a good thing in a room for everybody has a voice.
You guys can play man-to-man as much as Luke wants to. If you guys have the corners there, what does that do for defense?
I think it just eliminates threats. I think having two number one corners like Mooney and Sauce, and then being able to play man can, eliminate threats on the other team, but also opens it up for when you do go into zone. And you know that we can play man if we want, but they're also really smart players. We have really smart players on this whole defense where we can make it look like man and go play zone, and other offenses won't know because they're expecting us, because of personnel, to be able to play man, which we will. And, we already know Lou, he prides himself on that, but also being able to mix things up, I think it really puts a whole menu together for us on defense.
Does it allow you guys to sort of condense the field a little bit? Like, I'm thinking about that Kansas City game when you had both of them last year, and they kind of had to just throw in the middle. Like, you kind of
Exactly.
had to throw in the middle. How
Right.
much does that help?
I think, like I said, they eliminate threats, and their two top receivers will be at least competitive, and it won't be easy downs for anybody going against them. So for me as a safety, that frees a lot of things up for me, where I don't have to worry about the outsides as much, and I can help more on the inside, whether it's nickel or on a good tight end, where they have more space to work. So it's a lot harder of a cover for the nickel or for the down safety. So I think it complements the whole defense, where everybody can have more help in other places when we know that certain things are going to be locked down.
Cam, you personally had some takeaways last year, obviously. As far as the team or the defense is concerned, in terms of getting those numbers up, sometimes it's right place, right time. But
Right.
But beyond that, like, what are the variables that lead to getting the turnover numbers up on the field?
One, tips and overthrows. I think having competitive people that are, being sticky on routes causes more tips, more PBUs, which also lead to tip balls, and that's where a high percentage of interceptions and turnovers come in the NFL. It's not people making spectacular plays, jumping routes, but a lot of it is just a tip ball from good coverage. And I think just being able to mix things up, play man and play zone, also mix up a quarterback's mind and be able to go play multiple coverages, to where now we're able to make plays in zone. And then when we are in man, they have to test their best receivers going against our best DBs. That there's going to be turnovers there too when we make plays. So I think there's a lot of ways to do it, and it just comes from our preparation.
So with the sticky coverage, that's where right?
Yes, and that's where it makes my life easier. They're sticky, a lot of overthrows, a lot of disruption at the line of scrimmage. Quarterback has to take a chance, and I can get an overthrow. And so for me as a safety, having people that are locked down like we have, that makes my life a lot easier.
Thanks,
Yep. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Great hearing from Daniel Jones, Coach Steichen, Jonathan Taylor, and Cam Bynum. And it feels like we learned a lot here with Locked On Colts, Jake Arthur, and of course with Roundtable Sports as well, covering the Colts. You're going to want to follow him during Colts season. He puts out a ton of good content. But Jake, a lot of storylines coming in. Obviously, Daniel Jones, full go, ready to rock and roll. He looks good, I have to say. And we'll get to some of the other stuff going on here, but we got to start with the quarterback position. I felt like he was moving well. He's participated in 11-on-11 for the first time in quite some time. What were your impressions of Daniel Jones?
Yeah, I mean, physically we knew that he could do 11-on-11s back in the spring. They just didn't want to force the issue. So we finally got to see it live out here. And, I mean, I thought it looked pretty good. But then later on in practice, you see him, like, roll out and have to kind of try and beat a pass rusher to the edge. And it looked fine.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those things where you're going to hold your breath a little bit until he keeps checking off those boxes and you see all that. And, as you heard, Shane Steichen said that was good to see. And Daniel, it's old hat to him. He's like, I've been doing that since the spring. But for all of us, we have to get to a comfort level of what we're seeing with him out there. And to see him, have to beat a pass rusher out to the sideline, that's good, small things to see.
Yeah, no question about it. Staying in that quarterback room, I think it's a little too early to tell Riley Leonard versus Anthony Richardson. It seems like they're going to be splitting second-team reps. Anything jump off the page? I know it's early, it's day one, but what do you make of these two guys battling for the backup QB job?
Yeah, I thought they both did some nice things. I mean, if you're giving the edge to someone, I think Anthony was a little more efficient. I think Anthony was the most efficient of the quarterbacks today. I think he's like 4 of 5. had some good completions out there. You can see him processing things, though. He maybe waits a little bit, when he's scanning the field, where I think Riley is kind of getting to a place where he is able to kind of go through his checks a little quicker.
Maybe
at this point of his career.
anticipating a little more.
Yeah, so there's just going to be that balance where kind of last year there were ingredients behind the scenes we didn't know that they were looking at to determine the starter. That may be a lot of the same stuff this year. But I think just whoever is more consistent, getting rid of the ball quicker and probably spreading it around a little bit, I think we'll probably be able to tell an edge there after a couple weeks maybe.
Yeah, no question. Okay, we've seen across the league, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, specifically sitting out in search of long-term contracts. They're at a different point in their career than Jonathan Taylor is. He's been there, done that a couple years back. Jonathan Taylor's out here. He's practicing. We heard Chris Ballard say he feels good, feels like they're in a good place as far as negotiations go, or lack thereof. We don't know exactly what's happening behind the scenes. Jonathan Taylor, though, seemed very positive about where this is trending when we heard from him after practice. It's just good that he's out here.
Yeah, without a doubt. It was so awkward in 2023. Where he's here, but he looks like he's in a bad mood, and it's the elephant in the room. Yeah, the hoodie every day. He seems in a much better place this year. And, in 2023, he kind of left us with those breadcrumbs after minicamp where he's like, I understand why running backs hold out now. And then fast forward, he holds in throughout training camp. He's out here this year. Like you mentioned, Chris Ballard made it seem like they're in a good place. Jonathan Taylor, much more upbeat about it. It makes you want – they've had some conversations about his contract situation. We know that. They've both acknowledged. But it almost makes you think like they've come to some sort of common agreement of how this might look moving forward. Like, hey, you perform, we'll do right by you. Like, it just seems like mutually there's an understanding there this time.
Yes.
And that's good because they can't afford to be messing around with Jonathan Taylor this year.
I mean, he's bar none your best player.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean,
you're bringing back a quarterback with the Achilles who is going to need as much support as possible.
Yeah.
So alienating your best player is probably not high on the to-do list.
It certainly seemed positive from all signs with the GM, Chris Ballard, and with Jonathan Taylor, just hearing from him, as you heard just a moments ago. Okay, last thing for you. This defense has had a lot of question marks. I mean, we've talked about Latu and the progression he needs to make on the defensive line. Who's going to be opposite of him on the other edge there, right? DeForest Buckner coming back with the neck. But I want to kind of go linebacker and secondary here. Secondary impressed here on day one. There's no question about it. Seeing Sauce Gardner and Charvarius Ward together, that's really positive. Seeing Jonathan Owens and Cam Bynum, and then you got Halsey, the rookie, getting time as well. What's sticking out to you there? Obviously, C.J. Allen is on PUP when it comes to the linebacker, but linebacker and secondary, kind of that back part of this defense, your impressions here on day one?
Yeah, I mean, the Bryce Betcher hype is not going to calm down until we see someone else come in here and start playing more than he is.
Yeah.
There was quite a bit of rotation with the linebackers throughout the team portions, but from my observations, I thought Betcher got the most first-team reps. Now, obviously, C.J. Allen will aid in that as he comes back, but I asked Chris Ballard yesterday, I was like, could you be comfortable starting two rookies at linebacker? And he said, yeah. So
he wants to get faster. There you go.
He referenced that they had super young linebackers early in his tenure here. So if Betcher and Allen are the two best linebackers, that's probably going to be your starters. So that's interesting. But as far as the secondary goes, it just seems deep. And they're so deep, in fact, that they sent safety Ben Nickel over to the receiver corps now. So that was an interesting wrinkle from today. But no, Bynum is one of your constants. Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward, both with pass breakups today against Daniel Jones. Like, that's great to see. And then Wally is another one that
I didn't even mention him.
It gets buried out there because of the depth. You got so many guys right now. Halsey wasn't even your initial starter at safety next to Bynum because you had Hunter Wooler out there. So you just got a deep group, and having that many guys be competitive is going to present you the best options. You know what I mean? You will have plenty of data to pick through to say, hey, this is the best guy for this spot, and that's how good position groups are put together, by positive competition.
Yeah, no question about it. It makes you feel better about your D-line, too.
Yeah.
When you got a secondary lockdown out there. Justin Wally, remember, he he starred out last training camp before the season-ending injury, so great to see him back as well. A deep group, there's no question about it. That is Jake Arthur of Locked On Colts. He's going to be with us all throughout training camp, all throughout Colts season, bringing you all the action on our streaming platform and where you're watching this digitally as well. Thank you so much, Jake. It's going to be a fun training camp. Wasn't too hot today, so that's a plus.
Not yet. We got
Knock on wood. Knock on wood. That's Jake Arthur. I'm Dominic Miranda. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be with you all throughout Colts training camp.